G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here, bringing you another G.I. Joe toy review. Today we'll be looking at the 1986 H.A.V.O.C. and its driver Cross Country. The H.A.V.O.C. was released in '86 as a part of the 7th series. It came boxed with Cross Country. It was on the shelves from 1986 to 1987, discontinued in 1988. It originally retailed for $8.99. H.A.V.O.C. is an acronym for a Heavy Articulated Vehicle Ordnance Carrier. Again, the 1986 H.A.V.O.C. driver Cross Country, and I do have a file card. I am so happy about that. I feel bad when I can't show you guys a file card, but I just get too excited about reviewing a figure. I just write the information down. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the H.A.V.O.C. here. Set Cross Country aside. So let's go ahead and address the turd in the punch bowl right here. It is this top mounted driver's seat. I never thought much about this as a kid. Top mounted driver's seat. It leaves the driver completely exposed to enemy fire. It looks cool, but my friends and I, we played realistically, so the driver usually got knocked out pretty quick. Alright, so the seat is attached to what the blueprints call 35mm leveler cannons. They move on a ratcheting motion upwards, and they also rotate forward, covering the canopy, which is a pretty cool feature. The seat is very nicely sculpted with this ribbing. There is a control joystick, some electronics works there, a little bit of hydraulics there on the side, and underneath is this very nicely sculpted diesel engine with a not so nicely sculpted engine cover. It lacks some detail. So on the back here we have the cargo bay that houses the hovercraft. These doors will open. I'll get to that here in a second. So here on the sides are the 7.62mm computer synchronized machine guns. They do rotate around. They will bump into each other, but they do rotate fairly nicely. Each door sports 2 missiles. These are what the blueprints call a Lancer high impulse missile. And the doors open up to reveal the H.A.V.O.C. or the hovercraft. The hovercraft also has twin 7.62mm cannons, very nicely sculpted engine, has these exhaust ports on both sides and in the back, and the blowers, and these pivot side to side to allow maneuverability of the vehicle. The seat is sculpted. I don't know if you can see that fairly well, but it's ribbed, but it is sadly void of any control panels or any method of controlling the vehicle. Missed opportunity with that. One thing to look out for with this, these pegs do break off. So pay close attention to that when you're looking for this on the aftermarket. Treads here, which are non-functioning, it's made out of a soft gray plastic. You have these orange dumbbell wheels, which that's okay. I don't mind these very much. This plastic, like I mentioned, is very soft. You can see these tabs have a tendency to break off. The rest of the bottom is not sculpted all that great, but that's fine too. Removable wheel covers or tread covers, and that is fantastic. Look at that. Very, very well detailed on the inside, some struts and gears. These covers do have a tendency to fall off fairly easy, so make sure you look for that as well when you're purchasing a vehicle, the H.A.V.O.C. Here has the two pivoting machine guns. These always remind me of pincers or mandibles on an ant. Has two sticker headlights. The problem with the canopy, with the gun down, it will not open. That's one thing I found to be annoying. So you have to tilt the gun back and lift up the canopy. It's very nicely sculpted on the inside. It has two computer consoles on the inside with some joysticks on the front. Again, there's some ribbing on the control seats. The big problem I have with this is you have to mount the figures lying face down. This isn't the first time G.I. Joe did a face-mounted vehicle. On the Night Raven, the drone, you have to lay the figure in downwards, and LCV recon sled. This fits with the vehicle. It looks okay, but I would much rather have the action figures in the seated position. But there is one thing I did fail to mention. Really cool feature on this are the treads. They rotate 360 degrees, which you see that missiles fall off fairly easily, which allows the vehicle to move in some very interesting positions. So I guess that's where the articulation comes in, and in the acronym. Camera movement, I don't mean to give you guys vertigo. But the H.A.V.O.C. sports 12 action figures. There are 3 pegs on the back, or on the sides, 2 on the back. Also has the tow hook, which is very common with G.I. Joe vehicles. And the driver up front, the 2 in the cockpit, and the one operating the hovercraft. So that's 12 action figures. It carries quite a great deal of action figures, which is nice. Pegs there, they are fairly thick, and I would suggest to be careful while setting your figures on there. Just do it very gently to avoid cracking the heels. But I'm doing this for an example. If you want, my friends and I, we tried to play as realistically as we could. We couldn't launch the hovercraft while it was still with the vehicle, the action figures riding on the running boards there. Since the doors wouldn't open, you'd have to stop the vehicle, have them dismount, and then they could take off. But you know, it's really nice for display purposes anyway. Look at Cross Country here. He's a pretty decent figure. He does look very nice with the H.A.V.O.C. The colors do contrast very well. So his paint scheme is pretty decent. You know, on each side he has these burnt orange pouches with a sculpted zipper. He has these. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rating on this. For the H.A.V.O.C. armament, it gets a 10 out of 10. Color scheme, it gets 10 out of 10. Sculpt, it gets 10 out of 10. And playability, it gets 10 out of 10 for a perfect 40 points. Cross Country armament, he gets a complete 0. He should have come with a weapon, in my opinion, anyway. His color scheme, 10 out of 10. Sculpt, he gets 7 out of 10, as the head is just a little too big for my liking. Playability, 9 out of 10, simply because he does not have a gun. For a total of 26 points. Okay, this is a top shelf vehicle for me. I really enjoy it. Pardon me, filming on my phone. I really enjoyed it as a kid, and I enjoyed it even more as an adult and a collector. It displays well with different dioramas, and if you are looking for this on the aftermarket, very common for a bare bones H.A.V.O.C without the driver file card or any of the accessories. You're looking at around $10 to start. For a complete H.A.V.O.C with driver and file card, it's $20 on up. But there's a few things that you do need to look out for. Do a little research on the toy itself. Are the plastic tabs, especially down on the treads, and with the soft plastic, they do tend to break off, especially in play if it gets snagged in carpet or whatnot. Also the missiles, they have a tendency to get lost. The pivoting guns on the doors and on the hovercraft, they're mounted in fairly well, but I have seen some without them. 1986, Series 7 of the G.I. Joe toy line was my most favorite toy line of all. It brought us a lot of great vehicles, a lot of great figures. Some of my favorites were Lifeline, Dial Tone, Mainframe, of course the Cobra Bats, Cobra Vipers especially. Low Light is another one that was really good. But while making this review, I did notice something. I want to point that out real quick here. Block and Cross Country having similar uniforms. I really didn't pay much attention to it until I bought Cross Country. But these guys were released in the same year. They're often showed together. In the cartoon intro, it shows Roadblock driving the hovercraft. But was this, it begs the question, was this intentionally done by Hasbro, or was it just a pure mistake? A happy mistake, let's put it that way. But it is cool nonetheless. Sign off, Half the Battle Timmer is trying to get a charity drive going here. It's for Christmas for children all around the world, I'm sure, but especially those who are affected by the recent hurricanes that have hit here in the U.S., in Florida, and in Texas. Down here on the bottom of the screen, I have an email address. It is joechristmascharity@gmail.com. What he's asked us to do, I'm just paraphrasing, but to take a photograph of a receipt or a video of you making a donation to a children's charity, and he will submit that to this email address, and in December he'll do a drawing for a rare Tiger Force Psych Out, which was only released in Europe. Check out his channel, Half the Battle Timmer, and on YouTube, and you will see that he'll give it more detail. Like I said, I was just paraphrasing, but it's pretty important to help out with this, especially with the kids. It's devastating for everybody, but it hits them harder. If they just have something to hold on to, something to call theirs, it does help them through the crisis. So please give that give it a look-see. I'm going to donate. Not doing it for the prize, and I'm doing it for, well, it's just a sad situation. I'm doing it just to help the kids out. Donated with Hurricane Katrina as well. It's what we do as humans. We help each other out. So, no more melancholy. This is Joe Motion Videos 82. Signing off. Have a great day.